Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report, Prime Time, episode number 810. Damian Nelson standing alongside David Hero, and it is time to do some Be the Booker, David, here on Prime Time, because Extreme Rules is this weekend on the WWE Network. It's a Raw-branded pay-per-view, and we're going to talk about some of the matches here tonight on Prime Time, and then we're going to talk about some of the matches tomorrow night on Feedback Friday. So what happens in this segment? David Hero, this one? Fantasy books, if you will.
I have the dry erase marker.
Fantasy books, if you will, the show as if he were the booker, if you will, if he was the one making the decisions. And let's get right down to it, David, and talk about our primetime matchups. And the first one's going to be a matchup for the...
Now, just so we know, when I book these, I don't do it to favor Team Super Friends. Just so you know. I don't do that.
You don't?
I do it, it's fair and balanced, and it's what I think would make the most sense at the time.
All right, well, that's fair enough and not necessarily balanced. But the first will be for the Intercontinental Championship. The Miz, the endorsed Miz, goes one-on-one with Dean Ambrose in a unique stipulation in this matchup. If Dean Ambrose loses by disqualification, he also loses the Intercontinental Championship.
Yes, and that right there tells you everything. Dean Ambrose has to lose. He will do He will do everything he possibly can to not be disqualified. He will come close to getting caught. But at the end of the day, The Miz is going to walk out of Extreme Rules as the new seven-time Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion of the world.
I like that action, David. The Miz endorsed.
Yes. And he's on your team, isn't he?
He is indeed part of the Nelson family.
Yeah. See, I'm giving you points.
Mo points.
Yes.
So, these two also participated in the tag team matchup earlier this week on Raw.
Miz doing the 1, 2, 3, counting the lights.
Yes, which tells you
he shouldn't have lost that match.
Why not?
Because he's not involved with the Hardys.
So it's sort of it's erased. It goes away.
It does. It does.
Non-issue.
Yes.
All right. Well, brand new Intercontinental Champion Sunday at Extreme Rules. The tag team championships will be on the line in a steel cage. This will be the Hardys defending against the team of Cesaro and Sheamus.
And here's what doesn't make any sense. I love Matt and Jeff. They've been super friends for about 20 years.
Yeah.
If they get to choose the match they want, why are they choosing a cage match? They are known for TLC. Mm-hmm. They are known for ladders.
Yeah.
That's what they should have done. Instead, you're putting two brawlers in a cage with two guys that do dives.
Let me ask you this. Would it have been a problem potentially in the minds of some in WWE to do a TLC match just a couple of weeks before Money in the Bank, the ladder match pay-per-view?
That's a ladder match. And there's a little TLC involved in it, but, I mean, if I'm Matt and Jeff, I'm picking my match. Mm-hmm. And they didn't do that. So Sheamus is going to punch and kick and headlock all the way to becoming the tag team champions at Extreme Rules.
These two have had some brutal matches going into this already.
And Matt and Jeff have gotten the best of everybody, especially Sheamus.
Have they?
Oh, my God. They've beaten him in singles. They've beaten him in tags.
Jeff lost a tooth.
Well, but that's about it. He can afford a new one.
All right, folks, and it is the main event.
We're going to give the main event away now and not...
On Prime Time, absolutely.
We should make him wait until...
Oh, no. You know what? I'm a generous soul, and I like to give all that I can give to the fans out there right now. This is the flagship show. This is Prime Time. This is the main event. So we should talk about the main event, which is a fatal five-way with Extreme
King Kong Bundy
Rules.
Match. It's a 5-match.
Oh, could also be the Booker T match. The winner will become the #1 contender and will meet Brock Lesnar at Great Balls of Fire, the pay-per-view event in July.
Boy, that just has huge written all over it, doesn't it?
What do you mean?
Is Great Balls of Fire, do you think it'll be sponsored by Gold Bond?
Medicated powder?
That's a natural.
I don't understand. Oh. Anyways, folks, the participants are Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, the endorsed Finn Balor, Bray Wyatt, and Samoa Joe. 5 men, Extreme Rules. I believe with it being a fatal 5-way, is it elimination or is it not elimination?
It's elimination, I believe.
Well, that makes it much more interesting and much more difficult to book, I would say.
No, it doesn't make a difference because I believe I know who's going to win. You know, because it's the one guy that hasn't gotten any love in the last couple weeks.
Oh.
Roman Reigns defeats Seth Rollins. Main event. Great
Did
match.
that Monday on Raw?
Finn Balor gets the promo with Paul Heyman.
He did that last week?
And gets the 24 special.
Uh-huh.
Samoa Joe beats Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt.
Did that on Monday?
Who's the guy that's been the odd man out in the whole thing? Bray Wyatt.
Really?
Bray Wyatt.
Really?
Bray Wyatt versus Brock Lesnar is the match. I know you want to see Finn Balor.
I don't necessarily want to see it. I just don't think he should be disqualified.
Bray Wyatt is going to beat Finn Balor to win the match. Everyone's going to be all, going nuts. It's down to these last two. Yeah, and Bray Wyatt is going to beat Finn Balor to then go on to face Brock Lesnar at Great Balls of Fire.
Let me ask you this. So let's say that did happen in that scenario. Finn Balor then is free until SummerSlam, if you will.
Sure.
SummerSlam, the event where last year he won the first ever Universal Championship.
But let's not forget,
there's
a chance Braun Strowman could be back by SummerSlam.
There is a chance, but the question is, Finn Balor has only mentioned...
And wouldn't it be great if Strowman somehow gets involved in this and helps his former family member win, since he can't win?
Could be interesting. But do we then, whatever happens between Bray Wyatt and Brock Lesnar, if Wyatt were to win, Finn Balor, his claim to never have lost the championship could be more substantial at the event where he won it,
right, but
SummerSlam.
If not, then you got Samoa Joe and Finn Balor.
God, that does nothing for me.
Really?
Nothing.
I bet they would all love that.
Why do you say it that way?
Because they would all love that.
Why do you say it that way?
Because that's just the presentation.
You're lumping everybody into one mass grouping?
Because I said they?
Yes.
I'm not talking about a certain race. I'm talking about a whole group of people.
Again, I said nothing about race. You're generalizing. Bray Wyatt.
Why don't you like Bray Wyatt?
I don't have a problem with Bray
Wyatt.
Wyatt.
He's the only guy that can match Brock Lesnar on so many other categories.
Roman Reigns can.
Roman Reigns can match him physically. Okay? Samoa Joe, physically.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt, physically, mentally, psychologically, yeah, bigly, all that kind of stuff.
All right, well, that is an interesting scenario, an interesting choice. If you were the man in charge on Sunday at Extreme Rules, you would have The Miz walk out the brand new Intercontinental Champion, Cesaro and Sheamus walk out the new Tag Champions, and Bray Wyatt be the #1 contender for Brock Lesnar's Universal Championship. That's only half the card, but a significant half of the card. Tomorrow on Feedback Friday, we're going to talk about the other matches, including our Cruiserweight matches, and another match, which will feature a chance for Bayley to retain, or regain, rather, the Women's Championship. So, with that, there is much more to come right after this time out here on Prime Time as we bring you the Raw Report, SmackDown Report, and this week's hot news. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report, Prime Time. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero here for episode number 810. Coming off the heels of Be the Booker, it is now time to talk about WWE Raw from this past Monday night. And David, you're very active on social media, right?
Yeah,
right.
It's a great tool.
You tweet, you Insta, you snippety snap,
I do everything.
You talk on the Book of Face and such.
Well, you know what it is the people appreciate my wisdom.
I would find that very difficult to believe.
Look at the impact I have had on pro wrestling, even in the last week.
How so?
Well, let's face it. Everyone knows about my tilapia problems on Facebook.
Okay. What are your tilapia problems on Facebook?
I'm being harassed by tilapia people, like calling me retarded and morons.
Do you eat fish?
Stupid. I love fish.
Do you like tilapia?
I don't eat tilapia anymore because it's like Enzo, a bottom feeder. It just eats all the garbage. And then all of a sudden, and I'm getting blasted. I've gotten direct messages. I've gotten hate mails, hate messages, hate posts, everything about...
Wait a minute. The Revival were talking about tilapia on Raw Monday night.
Exactly, because they know it's a heat machine topic, and they used it. And
Tilapia's a thing now?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. It's ridiculous. Tilapia is the most controversial piece of fish ever.
If you're going to talk about a bottom-feeding fish, everyone knows that's carp.
Yeah, exactly. But no. Tilapia is now the new buzzword. And that's what Dawson, because Dash can't speak, his mouth is wired shut from broken jaw, but he was doing the tilapia signal. and
The tilapia signal, ladies and gentlemen, in case you didn't know one existed, now you do.
And when Dawson dropped the tilapia reference, again, if it was not for David Hero, there never would have been tilapia on Raw.
They're being accused, are the Revival, of being the ones to now 2 weeks in a row levy a backstage attack against Enzo.
He's like a Muppet. You know that? He just keeps getting beat up, and he comes back every week, and he never
What Muppet always got beat up?
Oh, Muppets always get beat up.
Which Muppet? There were different Muppets.
Well...
Gonzo?
No.
That was Fraggle Rock, wasn't it?
No, Gonzo was a Muppet. He very well could be the Gonzo of the WWE. I mean, there's also Dr. Tooth's band.
Are they?
We've seen her before.
Are they building to a Revival, Cass, and Enzo story here?
I hope not, because the Revival is better than that. The Revival is really good.
Aside from, they got a lot of good teams on Raw actually right now. I was going to ask if there's a better team for them to make themselves with than Enzo and Cass,
I think the Hardys. I would much rather see that.
They'd be great heels for
Matt and Jeff.
The Hardys, absolutely.
Oh my God, they'd be fantastic. Dash and Dawson, when it's all said and done, will be a Hall of Fame caliber tag team.
Whoa, you're going that far?
Absolutely.
That fast?
Yeah.
All right. You're drinking the Kool-Aid then.
No, I'd like Crystal Light.
That's not Kool-Aid. They don't make a red or a grape.
I know, but it's a higher end of Kool-Aid. And they do
Again,
have grape.
that's
And they
not
do have a grape.
Weiler's.
And they have a fruit punch, which is the same as a red, isn't it?
No, red's red.
So the Revival, yeah, they're the team to beat.
Folks, Samoa Joe gets a big win this past Monday night in one of two main events in a three-way match, a triple threat with Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt. I believe he beat Wyatt. He did beat Wyatt.
Yeah.
Balor was outside the ring.
Yep.
Significance of this match, what does it mean going into Sundays? We saw what she's talked about earlier and Be the Booker, but
Bray Wyatt needs this to win Sunday.
Needs.
He does.
Okay.
Because all the other guys are considered top guys on Raw.
Bray's not?
Bray Wyatt has been a slow-moving entity on Raw. He has done nothing to truly stand out yet.
How about Alexa Bliss's presentation of This Is Your Life to Bayley?
I had to stop.
Did you?
Like, before even Bayley got to the ring, I had to
It was a little longer than it should have been, but I will give Bliss credit again. She handled that crowd brilliantly.
She did great. I mean, she thinks quick on her feet.
Yeah.
Which is impressive, because that's something that you can't be taught.
Right.
You just have to have that.
Yep. Most people would freeze up.
Yeah.
Even good wrestlers would freeze up in that scenario.
And she did not. I mean, look at how often Psycho Sid would freeze up.
Can we start over? We're live, pal.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it just shows you that Alexa Bliss is the standout of the women's division until Nia Jax gets her hands on her.
What does Corey Graves have on Kurt Angle? He showed him a text, a tweet, an email, or some sort.
Some of the stuff he used to do in TNA. There's a lot of stuff that happened back then.
What was it? Comfifi? What was the? It's a new word of the day as of 2 days ago. Yesterday.
Kofifi?
Kofifi, yes.
Kofifi Kingston.
Kofifi. Is that a drag queen? Kofifi?
How would I know? I mean, really?
Linda hasn't reviewed the latest receipts with you from Vegas?
There's no drag queen.
By the way, have you talked to her? I've not talked to her all day.
I have no reason. First of all, I don't understand what she says anymore. That crazy kabuki language she's dropping on us.
I don't think it was
Where
kabuki.
Where did that come from?
I believe it's her native tongue.
That's why I want to see the birth certificate.
Folks,
do you really think she's legal? Seriously.
I know she's legal.
No.
We don't hire illegal immigrants here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Did she give you a social security number?
Yes.
Are you sure it's not off some dead white guy? You know, they sell those at the taco shop.
Your overall thoughts on Raw this past Monday night, David Hero? Memorial Day edition of Raw.
Thank God it was on Memorial Day where people weren't watching it. It was rough. It really was. That Alexa Bliss Bayley segment, I couldn't. Usually I can stomach a lot of nonsense. That I couldn't.
With that, let's go into this week's WWE SmackDown Report, the Blue Show on Tuesday night. Of course, SmackDown brought to you, the SmackDown Report rather, brought to you by Fight TV. That's F-I-T-E, Fight. And you can download the app for free right now. Just go to the website you see on your screen, fight.tv/PWR. Watch our show, watch Ring of Honor, watch Impact Wrestling, and much, much more on the Fight TV app. Absolutely, you can. That's coming up in a few weeks here.
I cannot wait to see how that's going to play out. Well, they had their big taping in India.
They did. Lots of social media shenanigans from India, from the TNA team.
If you don't follow EC3, you missed out on some great stuff of him over in India.
Him, Rockstar Spud.
Who knew that EC3 could be a snake charmer?
Well, many people would call him a charmer.
But a snake charmer.
SmackDown this week, ladies and gentlemen, a big announcement. The first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match will take place at the same named pay-per-view on June 18th, I believe it is. And this is huge. We've never seen it. Now we will. There's supposed to be a 5-way match on SmackDown. Didn't happen. Shane McMahon made the big announcement. The participants are quite interesting in this match.
It's interesting that they gave it to the SmackDown squad. Because let's face it, as talented as the girls are on the SmackDown brand, it's almost like the B team for the girls.
Really?
Sasha Banks, Bayley, Nia Jax, a little more elevated.
Did you see Nia's tweet as it pertains to this?
Yeah.
She's not too pleased. It doesn't look like that she's not going to be in this matchup.
No, what she said is it's nice how SmackDown can use all the girls every week. And what she's saying is Raw has a 3-hour show.
Right.
SmackDown has 2, and they even give a segment to Ellsworth. And they still have time for all the girls. How the hell does he get TV time still?
Well, he didn't. Shane had him removed from the Talking Smack set this week.
And they give him a microphone. Like, they let him legit
You
talk.
cannot sit here and say you're not entertained by James Ellsworth.
I'm telling you right now, when his action figure comes, I'm buying it because he deserves it. Because he has made the most out of nothing more than anybody else in the history of making the most out of nothing.
That's true, and more power to him. But Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Carmella, Natalya, and Tamina in this match.
I do not hate Ellsworth. I think it's freaking awesome.
No, but you probably hate the fact that there's a women's Money in the Bank ladder match because you hated the fact that there was a women's Hell in a Cell match back in October of last year.
With that now.
Really?
Yeah.
You've seen the light. You've turned. Your opinion has changed.
Well, no, because it's not a Hell in a Cell. It's a ladder match, and we've seen girls fall off ladders before. I mean.
We've seen girls fall off ladders before. It's much more to it than that.
Well, no, we've been to certain strip clubs where they fall off the pole. It's the same thing as a ladder. But here's what's cool. I mean, the girls on SmackDown beat the holy hell out of each other on Tuesday night. I highly doubt they're going to go through much more in a ladder match. They went through tables. They were thrown into the barricade. The ladders are going to be great props.
This match could surprise you, I think. They've got a high bar to raise, to set, if you will, as the first women's Money in the Bank ladder match.
Charlotte's going to steal the show.
No doubt. She's taller.
But I think Tamina is the X factor in this match.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can't wait to talk about that one as it draws more near. But more significantly, this past Tuesday on SmackDown, a big win for a man who hasn't seen many lately, that being Dolph Ziggler, who defeated AJ Styles in the main event.
Well, that had to happen.
Via pinfall.
That had to happen.
How so?
Because AJ can recover from a loss in his hometown.
They were in the ATL, Atlanta.
Yes.
That's where Usher lives, you know.
Dolph Ziggler, and so does Chile from TLC.
That's where Whitney Houston lived.
Lived. But Ziggler needed it. He's been putting over Nakamura the last couple weeks. And they need to elevate Ziggler that he means something again. AJ has lost 3 times to Ellsworth. And he's still the top guy in SmackDown. He can afford to put over Dolph Ziggler.
Yes. Your overall thoughts on the SmackDown show this past Tuesday night, David Hero?
You know what?
New Day gets a championship match. They confronted the Usos.
That's going to be good in ring promo stuff.
Absolutely. Yes.
Those guys.
Yes.
It's going to be great. But think about it. You got to see the girls beat each other up. You had a great tag match to open the show with Zayn, Nakamura, Corbin, and Owens.
Yeah.
Even had
your buddy Corbin coming up on the losing end of things again. Interesting.
He didn't lose.
He didn't lose.
He did not lose. He did not lay down. Kevin Owens lost. Then you have
lost the match, folks.
Then you have a vignette with Breezango, which is getting very kabuki-ish.
Great Kabuki did not make an appearance in that.
I'm waiting for Breeze to come out of the closet and just embrace his innerness with Fandango. It's heading that way. He enjoys wearing dresses way too much. He's a cross between Billy and Chuck and Vito. Right? You don't see that?
I don't. I had not looked in that direction. No, I don't see that, David.
See, and that's why I'm the MVP of the show, because I look at bigger pictures. You're just too black and white, journalistic. I'm graying everything.
I believe in facts.
But how far do facts get you?
They've gotten me pretty far, actually.
But they didn't work that well. O.J. Simpson, they had facts against him. He still got off. Right?
I don't even know how you managed to leapfrog to there.
Because that's what I do. I leapfrog.
Facts in a court of law are a matter of opinion in most cases, and it was a jury of his peers that decided that he was innocent.
Can we talk about facts?
I don't know if we have time to talk about facts, but we do have time to finally get your overall thoughts on SmackDown.
Loved it. It was entertaining.
It was a good show.
There was a lot of stupid stuff
so
in there.
much easier to digest. I tell you, again, I know I've said this time and time again, but that 3-hour tour on Monday nights is becoming unbearable.
Everybody on SmackDown means something.
Yeah.
They do.
Mm-hmm. Well, folks,
there's no cruiserweight division.
That is this week's SmackDown Report. We're going to take a time out when we come back. It's hot news and DWHS here on the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time.
Hi, this is Lita, and you are watching the Pro Wrestling Report on My24 Milwaukee.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time. David Nelson sitting alongside David Hero here on Channel 14 in Milwaukee, and of course on YouTube and Fight TV as well. Let's get to this week's hot news. And WWE had announced a few months back that it was considering a women's tournament. Well, it now has a name and dates. That women's tournament will feature 32 competitors from all over the world and will be called the Mae Young Classic, which is a great name, obviously. Tribute to the WWE Hall of Famer Mae Young.
I'm surprised
that's going to take place. That is interesting that it was Mae Young instead of Moolah. But that will take place in Orlando at the same place they do the NXT tapings on July 13th and 14th. And these things that they're doing are interesting, David Hero. And what is interesting as well is on the last TakeOver event in Chicago, we saw the UK Championship defended on that event. Do you think we're going to see the same thing evolve from the women's or the Mae Young Classic women's tournament as well?
They're going to give them a title.
Well, what's the point then?
Well, they did a Cruiserweight Classic. There's no champion there.
There was a champion crowned,
well,
wasn't there?
The finals, but they already have an NXT women's.
That is true.
Yeah.
So then, what's the point?
Great content.
Yeah. Are people going to be as invested in this? Because it's probably going to be very different.
There's way more pervs watching. There's no doubt. Why do you laugh about it? We know that. Seriously.
Some things just don't need to be said, David Hero.
But that's the problem. When things aren't said, no one knows what's going on.
No, when things are said, people call it fake news and believe it to be lies.
That's not a lie, is it?
I don't have. There is no scientific evidence that will show that because there are pervs that more people are going to watch the women's tournament.
There will be.
Folks, John Cena has announced his return to WWE programming, and that's going to take place in a patriotic fashion on the July 4th edition of SmackDown Live, which is a Tuesday this year. John Cena coming back.
Interesting. I mean,
hasn't been seen since WrestleMania in his proposal.
Has it been that long?
It's been that long. And we haven't missed him. That's not a knock to John Cena. It's a good thing for the brand.
We haven't missed CM Punk. We haven't missed Daniel Bryan.
Well, he's still the GM or commissioner or whatever it is.
You don't see him really every week.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, it just goes to show the machine keeps rolling on.
So what do you do with the John Cena when he comes back, assuming we're still in the same scenario we're in now? Jinder Mahal champion, Randy Orton sort of lost and despondent, AJ Styles still on top of the brand, if you will.
I think you got to go John Cena, Jinder Mahal at SummerSlam.
Oh, gosh. And there's your great moment, right?
You have... Now, when I say white bread babyface, I'm not saying bread as in B-R-E-D. I'm saying as in white bread, as in like...
Like Wonder?
Like Wonder Bread. Like white bread that you put peanut butter on. Okay?
Or jelly.
Yeah. So don't think it's like I'm breeding only white baby faces. That's not what it is. But he comes out, has his big moment, USA chant, and then boom, the Maharaja hits his music hits.
That's a money match right there.
It's great.
It's a money match.
And John Cena is not afraid to put people over.
Nope. Now, you said, though, then maybe you just said it as well, that you would not be surprised if Jinder Mahal went beyond SummerSlam even to the Rumble or Mania as champion.
I could see him getting to the Rumble as champion.
So would he beat a John Cena if that match were to take
Absolutely.
place? Really?
Yeah. Why wouldn't he?
Whew. That's a lot of Jinder.
But The Miz beat John Cena. I think Jinder Mahal is tougher than The Miz.
That is this week's hot news, ladies and gentlemen. It is now time to find out the spoken word of David Hero in this week's DWHS.
And the WWE is proving the machine keeps rolling. If you look at the current roster in both programs, Raw and SmackDown, it's 90% NXT guys right now on both brands. They have slowly been infusing the Roman Reignses. Well, let's go with the Shield. Then you had New Day. And then you have Kevin Owens, and you have Baron Corbin, and Samoa Joe. All of these NXT stars have been elevated, and now they're main roster guys. The John Cenas, the Randy Ortons, the Big Shows are now special attractions. Not needed nearly as much. Even Jinder Mahal was in the finals of the NXT Championship. At first, I didn't think NXT was going to produce as many stars, but when you look at the big picture, Triple H has been getting these guys ready. And yes, a lot of the guys that are now elevated were guys that were in Ring of Honor and in TNA that have had some more seasoning on the road. But NXT is producing stars left and right, and the next crop coming up looks to be just as bright as the ones they've already done. Kudos to Triple H. NXT, I guess, is the #2 wrestling company in the world right now. And with that, David Hero has spoken.
Well said, surprisingly so. And that is it for this week's show, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow we've got a brand new edition of Feedback Friday where we are going to share your fantasy draft results and have the leaderboard for that.
The pervs.
And we'll also be discussing your comments and questions, and hopefully we'll be able to. I'm still waiting to hear back from Linda to make sure she's available for tomorrow's show.
She hasn't called once.
She doesn't. That phone doesn't have a number.
Willie has been waiting for that.
That phone doesn't have a number. It is not connected to a dang thing.
It's 262-344-2579.
I will try to call that and see if it rings.
Okay.
I'm sure it won't. Is that a cricket gimmick?
No, it's Al.
For that one, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow night on Feedback Friday.